My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend.
Hello, fellow Whovians, and now I gotta take this one off because I'm gonna start the show just as well as Christian does. Am I off? Am I on? Where am I? I'm gone. I can't make it work. I have really started this show just as well as Christian. This is awful. This is awful. That's the background. I don't want the background. I want
amazing.
There we go. There it is. Oh, there. And then Melanie turns it off, and I turn it back on. Hello, fellow Whovians. My name is not Christian Basil, despite how clean that opening was. My name is Dave Chapman. I am stepping in. Christian has given me the keys to the TARDIS, and 10-1, he's in the audience watching and making fun of me and regretting it. Yeah, so let's take a look at everyone else that's here. I suppose it makes sense. Today's topic, you know what? Today's topic, it really does make sense. We are going off the rails, and we are starting off the rails. So let's do this. Let's introduce everybody that we're here. We're going to go kind of crazy today. Let's start with the absolutely lovely ladies to my side. Let's start with Melanie. I got both of them up. It's great. I have two lovely ladies next to me.
Well, I'm so used to Christian saying lovely ladies and then going right to Mark. So I'm just, I
am going to attempt to have better segues than Christian.
I was disappointed.
All right. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, where on this particular episode, if you've already seen the thumbnail, it's called Off the Rails. So any other time that you've watched this and we've gone on tangents, and you know me, I've done a lot, many Star Wars themed tangents. That's what this episode is. This is we didn't have a title, so let's just go ahead and go with the flow. Who wants to come on tonight? And your chats are extremely welcome tonight for show topics, and you're going to help drive the TARDIS here. While Christian's away, we're all going to play.
And before we went live, what did you ask all of us, except for Mark, who showed up literally as the credits were rolling? What did you ask us all?
I already forgot.
You asked us what the over-under was on Christian being in the...
Oh, yeah.
In there. And
on Christian.
Ding, 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 ding. There he is. Hello, Christian.
It's I'm tired, want a break. I'm gonna, getting burned out, blah, 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 which is absolutely understandable. Everybody should practice self-care when that comes. When you need a break, take your mental health breaks. Except when you're Christian Basil, who's gonna
well,
be here
he's
anyway.
Probably on the couch, relaxing in his pajamas.
He's watching this on his TV.
Exactly. Well, so let's introduce the other lovely lady, Willow Schuyler.
Hi.
How you doing, Willow?
So they brought me on because this is a perfect show for me to be on. Going completely off topic. I'm no stranger to going off topic off my show, so this is fun. I love this.
It's true. I've been on your show, and it's perma off rails. There's no
really
rails.
On Sunday we had a subject, and we maybe touched on it for maybe 5 minutes.
That's good. That's why we don't have a topic. We can't get off topic. What do you think about that, James? Whoops! I totally instead of slowing him, I took him out of the stream. There we go.
You think about that, James? Smack.
Yeah. Hi, I'm James Enstall of Geek to Me Radio, and I was voted in high school most likely to go off topic. So this is the perfect show for me. I'm excited.
Most likely to go off topic. Here we go.
Oh.
I love it. I love it. And last but not least, Mr. Mark Muncie is back.
Yes, back, and happy National UFO Day. I thought it was going to be UFO topics, so I'm wearing my tinfoil hat. So,
Oh!
Be safe. So
I didn't even realize that.
Why are you all not wearing yours? Are you under the control of the mind control lasers? I guess. Fine. So I figured, yeah, there it is.
There's
There it
something
is.
under here.
All
I'm
right,
good.
we're good. But
It's
no,
just
yeah,
dumb luck. I got all like my alien stuff out. That's weird.
There you go.
Dumb luck.
I
There we
currently
go.
have my
See, we're all
bubblegum like
prepped. We're all prepped, yeah. And I have an army of books to my side on every subject known to man. So, whatever we go off topic on, I'm ready for. Are we ready to talk the book, the great secret book of Egyptian Gnostics? I figure that'll be good for our topic today.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
So
We got a lot
Jay-
of research. So,
James, you definitely need to to speak up or pull your mic a little.
Into the mic, does that help?
Little bit.
a little bit.
How's
I would fiddle with
me see
your
if I can
controls
flex
to
with
see
it.
whether or not your computer mic was reset when you came in to the show.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
that'll happen
Yeah.
where you'll be on one and then like you'll have your microphone set and
How about
then you
now?
jump into StreamYard and it's like, oh yeah, we just decided to default you back to the one that's built into your PC, Mac, or what other type of UFO or Alienware to help.
Yeah.
help
Is
Mark
that
out.
better now? I've just increased the volume.
getting a little bit better. Yeah.
a little better,
Little-
still pretty faint. Yeah.
Just start shouting. So really,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
really
Project.
shout.
I will
We're
shout
trying to
from
keep
the
your.
back row to here.
Yes.
We're
there
trying
you
to keep
go.
the dog all sedate, so it's yellow. Makes sense.
I'm
So
working on keeping the dog calm, so
Yes.
but we'll yell. He'll be fine. He's a Chihuahua. He shakes anyway. It doesn't matter.
exactly.
You got it, Ramona. Tinfoil hat. Heck yeah.
Well, and if you want to just go up, we'll start with Ramona's spoiler because she already spoiled it for us right off the bang.
Well, nobody in Facebook would have seen.
We
okay,
hadn't
well.
Yeah.
to it yet. It's true. We just hadn't got to it yet. Our little bit of who knew news. Jodie Whittaker is pregnant. She just announced it at the Brit Awards. Wearing
Baby
showing
bump.
off her bump. And I got to say, the neatest thing is not even the baby bump with this outfit.
It's
The
the
sleeves,
bird.
you can't. It's the sleeve. Well, okay, the dice purse is
Oh
awesome.
come on! I was like,
Those
how are you
sleeves-
not
What I
looking
was
at that
drawing there,
damn
yeah.
bag?
Those
I would
sleeves
totally
are full
wear
of
an outfit like that.
styrofoam balls that just kind of crawl up the outer sleeve.
Very nice.
It's hard to see in that picture, but it's actually really kind of cool.
Her dress
yes,
is the kind that I would just literally just sit there and just spin around in because it probably go make me feel like a bell. I don't know, but I like that old bag looking like a dice. A die. A dice.
Put a pair
Egg.
of tights on, and I'd be good to go for wearing that around.
I like the shoes too. They're big and clunky, chunky ones. The 90s are back. Okay, what did you just bring back, Dave?
Oh,
All right. Well, what's in the box? I don't know what's in the box. As we were getting ready to go on, my doorbell went off, and I have a pretty good idea what this is. But I think is a not Doctor Who game. Although we're going to be doing a Doctor Who game box opening sometime in probably 2 weeks. We'll find out. Possibly next
If it
week.
shows
It
up.
kind of depends on what time it shows up. Yes, it's supposed to show up right around the same time I leave for a week. So we're going to open it. And look, I just want to point.
these random boxes, and it's some Kickstarter you forgot about from 3 years ago, finally shipping.
I would like to also point out, look, Christian, this is how you show off a box.
I
Yeah.
was gonna make that comment. How do you do an
Open it.
unboxing? Oh, you show everybody your mailing address repeatedly over
Yes.
many
Exactly.
times. We're just going. You will
Ooh,
not know where
I even
live.
I even got a personalized note.
Oh, that's
This is
great.
this is awesome. This is from
Did it have hugs and kisses?
people who make blinks. It has his phone number, but it does not have
Oh.
hugs and
Well, that's
kisses.
second. Well, you have the
This
means
is
to
neat.
contact for those. Ooh, what's
This is also a really neat pack.
I love those packaging. It's easier to
Yeah.
recycle.
Ooh, soft.
It is. That's gorgeous.
Squishy.
So this is from Blink 38 or Move 38, sorry, who make blinks. And blinks are little hexagon pieces, and each of these has a game on it.
Wait, what?
And each of these has a game on it, and you use that and program the rest of these to be game pieces.
Okay,
And so
program
they sent me a
how?
bunch of stuff.
Program how?
RF technology, I think, is how they transmit it. Possibly a more direct thing, but they are also the next generation ones, and these may or may not be the next gen ones, they're coming out with a Kickstarter anytime now that includes a new app. So you can take your phone and just go boop, buy the game here, and program everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Nifty.
So I am like super stoked to crack into these. I've been waiting for these for a while, and they showed up. Nice timing. Good heft to them. So there's my off topicness for now. Mark, what do you got there? You got something weird and off topic.
I've always got stuff weird and off topic. Okay, so lately I've been working with the wonderful folks at Ripley's Believe It or Not for a Discovery Channel thing that we're working on. And I get to go into the archives and find unusual things.
Oh.
And so one of the coolest things that I now have access to is this wonderful piece here. And I don't know if you can see it, but it is a giant ring with the initials JP on them. And they weren't exactly sure what this was. So that's when we had to go into the archives and figure out what the heck this giant ring was. And well, it turned out to be from a giant man. I was able to find this. This is Johann K Peterson, who was the strongest and tallest man in the world, born in 1913, and he got to a height of 8'8".
Whoa.
125 pounds. And what I noticed was down on this finger over here.
He's wearing the ring?
Pinky is the ring. And so we were able to figure it out. And that's his pinky. With this ring.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's his pinky.
On my
that's
big hand. That's his pinky finger ring.
Wow.
And so that's some craziness and crazy stuff. So there you go. How often do you get to touch the ring of the largest man in the world for his time? And he passed away not too long ago in the early 2000s. But scary stuff. But when he was born, he was 8.8 pounds. So it's not terribly big. But,
that's not terribly big. No, I've heard of
that's how big he got. So all these people, I had this giant baby, he's gonna be huge. No, you have no idea.
Did they say what they were feeding him?
I think small children.
It must be, yeah.
or large children.
Yeah, if he'd been around for Lord of the Rings movies, he would have been perfect for some of that stuff. He did do a lot of acting, which was pretty cool. I knew nothing about this guy, and suddenly I went down the rabbit hole, got to talk to some of his family members and all that. So that'll be coming out on some fun later on down the line on Discovery Plus on Road Trips with Ripley's. Keep your eyes on.
Was he a contemporary of like Richard Keel?
He knew him and all that. This guy was mostly Europe, so he didn't do much in the U.S.
Okay.
A lot of his movies were like this one, which was from Turkey, and that's from that postcard again. And this is just crazy. But he did a lot of stuff. And now all his clothes had to be handmade, of course.
Of course.
When you think about that whole costume, except for his handkerchief. He liked to point out that he had monogrammed handkerchiefs that were made by a professional.
I thought in that picture that lady was just standing well behind him. So she's next to him?
Right. That's his wife.
Insane. Wow.
That's his wife. And she's like 5'4", I think. And yeah, so that's a cute
on the
couple.
Tinier side.
Yes, that's
already
such a great couple. So
we're thrilled, but I'm not going there. There's too many. No. Willow, you can take this up on Pillow Talk.
Yeah.
That is definitely. I got to keep you in mind for being on my show because I definitely want to know more about this.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's like I said, you go through those archives and every box, there's all these boxes, and you're like, what's in the box? Like you were saying, and it's like,
you have to do it like 7. Come on, man.
It's like shrunken head. Okay, well, what's this one?
Where
shrunken head.
Are these archives located? They're located in
an undisclosed location in Central Florida that may or may not be near a mouse.
That's very cool. Because I know a lot of the Ripleys are gonna, they're gonna have their own little museums everywhere. Because I'm more familiar with the one in St. Augustine than anything. Right. So, and I remember, when you had the Ripleys, Believe It or Not, not only the original, like when Palance was hosting it, but after that, I think Dean Kay was hosting it a little bit, and that they would go to the same different museums, and I would kind of think, oh, I remember seeing that one at the St. Augustine, and so I was kind of wondering, do they? It's neat to know that they do have them in another secure location where they can, probably move their museum.
And it's some crazy stuff. I mean, a lot of it's wax, where they keep the wax dummies because they constantly rotate out the wax figures.
Yeah.
But because they're also Madame Tussauds. They own Madame Tussauds now. So
I did not know that.
They also have all that. So there's a whole section of this warehouse that is nothing but, heads and bodies and things like that. And it's crazy. You're walking in the room and, there was suddenly, Elvis and Elvis Costello. Oh, of course they would be stored next to each other. But then they've got, the random artifacts of just who knows what. And while I was there, they got a box, and it was this giant box, and they're like, and they opened that up, and it was the fingernails from the lady with the longest fingernails in the world who finally cut them a few years ago, and sent them a big giant box of long fingernails that went from her hand to the floor.
They curl.
Yes.
When you start
so this was the fingernails, and they were like, well, I guess we got to make an exhibit for that. So, yep, RatHole merch mug. There you go.
For the record, it's a one of a kind. I didn't think anyone else would want one, so I got one for myself.
But so and then in the same day, they got their most expensive artifact they've ever gotten, which was in a special carrier they'd gotten from a collector they'd bought, and they have it in their vault, in their air-conditioned, perma-sealed vault, and it's a dress. And it is the dress Marilyn Monroe wore for the Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, and then on the shelf next to it, speaking of Star Wars, was one of the screen-used lightsabers from Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back, and signed by John Dykstra with the letter of authenticity and all that.
Oh, my goodness.
And what they were piecing together with that was we were able to see the actual graphics logo on the flash bulb from the old camera that the original graphics camera came from, and you could still see that on there. They'd never cleaned it up or anything. It's just partially obscured and all that.
Mark, my birthday is coming up in a couple months. If you want to just slip something over,
head over there,
museum.
Just go over to the museum, say, hey, I heard you got this thing, and I got $50.
Hey, Mark, I'm sure you got this a lot, but are any of the stuff that you have haunted?
Oh, that's not this stuff that I have here, because this was all nice, and these were all at that museum. I'm sure they've got plenty of things that have some unusual stuff. Let's see. Dan said, "What the Sherlock Holmes Museum down the street from Massasodes?" They probably did, because they provide a lot of wax museum dummies from all over the world. They contact Madame Tussauds. There's another wax museum coming as a rival. I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but it's one of those two. 90% of all the wax museums. But haunted stuff, I got haunted stuff here somewhere. I could probably bring stuff out. Just give me some time. That's my day job, is Erie, Florida. Going to the weird and unusual places. So I got some rocks.
So apparently I have already liked your page, and so I'm definitely going to keep that on the back burner to make sure that I keep checking back.
Glad to. I can.
You don't do any kids and weird stuff. Not at all. No.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's not like I just finished a new book called Erie Appalachia, which will be out this fall from the History Press, and went to the editors January 1st. And has more illustrations from my wife than all three of our previous books combined.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sweet.
So there are so many monsters on the Appalachian Trail.
When do you think you'll start having books? Will you have them in time for MegaCon or Tampa Bay?
It's probably July or August. So we know we're going to have them for Mothman Festival, and we'll probably have them for the later conventions, Spooky Empire in the fall and all that. But we're doing a lot of North conventions now because of this. So fingers crossed, Dragon Con, we're finding out this week. So
I know they had opened their applications up. So I'm like,
if you're up in Saginaw, Michigan at the very last week of July, they've got a little 2-day convention going on there that I'll be at. And Mackenzie will probably be at.
Nice.
Not Motorcycle.
OxyCon.
Right. Oh, okay.
OxyCon. It's put on by Deepwater Games, Oxy Media.
Awesome. Yeah, we're doing Mothman Festival and Cryptid Con in Kentucky. Cryptid Bash in Tennessee, and I've done a lot of paranormal cons this year, which is,
Okay,
which is
I need to
that's
have
my
you
crowd.
on Cryptid Crunch.
Yeah, that's my crowd.
I'll be messaging you later about being on Cryptid Crunch.
And
do we have to do commercials for this particular
Let's go to commercial. Yeah,
let's go to
do you want to run
commercials.
commercials? Do you want me to
talk for 20 minutes?
You run
You want to do them, or
commercials?
do you want me to? You want
You do
to
it.
run commercials? Okay. Well, then I will do that. And when we come back, we'll bring up James's question to the panel and let James answer James's question to the panel because why not?
Yeah.
Let's go to their video clips, and we're gonna go commercial break, and here we go.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
So I'm not going to run the next commercial, but I wanted to say a couple words. We have this StreamYard has been run by Rajan. And for those of you who are on the air, we got it kind of announced mid-show, and that's when Meredith, one of those fine humans that run Rajan, passed away. So we want to just give a really big thank you. Nita's still running this StreamYard for the moment, but I don't know what's going on with their show, so I didn't want to run their commercial, but I really want to say thank you and send all of my heartfelt wishes and condolences and everything to everybody and to the members of our cast, because I didn't know Meredith very well, but I know a lot of our crew did. So I just wanted to.
I vote that you
put
run
that
it
out there
because they're still going to have the content out there. Run it.
Okay, then I will run it.
Run it.
Okay, I can do that. If I can get back to it. There it is.
Hey there, this is Meredith Loughran with Rajan, and I wanted to let you know that we encourage and promote independent creators and their projects through organic interaction, consultations, and more. Visit Nita and me at RajanAVC.com for details and contact information. Hit the button.
And there we go. So thank you, Nita, and we're back. And oh my goodness, do I need to go get my hat collection out? Is that what we're going on for now?
We're going down rabbit holes. I just thought I'd throw on a different hat.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. That's fair.
Hats. I apologize in advance. I didn't know hats would be required.
Well, otherwise you got to stare at the gray hair, and I just figured this is better. So, and it's because Dave wears hats like all the time, and I felt left out. So.
Okay, I'll go do that. Well, I'm going to go get more hats, and James can start with this panel question. What piece of history / pop culture memorabilia do you wish you could own?
Oh, let's see. the screen worn stuff is always usually out of my price range, but I would love, I know that just went up for auction. I feel like in the past couple of years, they just auctioned off a screen worn version of the Christopher Reeve Superman suit from the original 1978 Superman movie. I feel like that, or Adam West's original screen worn Batman utility belt, something like that, that's that iconic pop culture that was used during a filming of a TV show or movie. I think I'd have to go with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's reasonable. Let's randomly. All right, because we're doing it. So Willow, what would you like?
Oh, so many things. Because I'm in a car like I love classic cars. I'm gonna have to say the '66 Batmobile. Ecto 1 definitely is on that list as well. My husband actually has a Dodge Monaco, and I want it so bad to make the Bluesmobile, but he won't let me have it. So there's got to be a way that I can convince him to let me have it.
Nice.
Acceptable. Unacceptable, husband.
Nice hat.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Both of you.
Now the only person who's not wearing a hat.
I wrap my hair around my neck like a scarf. I have way too much hair for a hat.
I have expected you to come out with a hat.
I'm gonna go get. Hold on a second.
All right, I know it. I have a feeling I know what she's gonna do. So I'll just pop over here and just adjust mine.
Yeah, I love it. It's very fetching.
My Jackalope mini Fez from Fezzorama. I thought I was gonna get my hat collection. I got.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm not gonna really be able to do anything though. I don't even know if you can hear me.
I have had him.
We can still hear you. I see. The funny thing is, none of the other people in the panel can. Oh no, you can see. You should be able. I don't know if you guys can see her right now. I can. Which is extra. No, that's extra funny. As for me, I don't know. All of the Doctor Who FASA old role playing games. I think that'd just be kind of cool. I really. I come from a family of pack rats. And I've been trying. People have been trying to train me out of memorabilia. Because I just acquire stuff. It's what I do.
Right.
Quite literally what I do.
Which of the faster role-playing games did you need?
All of them.
Which one did you need?
Yeah.
The animated cover or the photo cover, or do you need the board game? So.
We'll take all of them, and if you suddenly disappear in the bayou somewhere, I call dibs.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll go to the best hat of the group now.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Love it.
I'm actually. The sad thing is I'm holding it up because my headset is now underneath here.
We can hear you. So, what piece of pop culture memorabilia would you like?
Oh, good lord. One, can you hear me okay? Because it's very echoey.
We can hear you better than we can hear James.
Okay, so I have a tendency of loving watching stuff from Prop Store. I've looked at the auctions from Profiles in History, like going to Comic-Con, so I see all this kind of stuff all the time. At one point, a little show that ended called Lost had some, things for auction. And I remember my husband and I actually we bid on like John Locke's costume. We bid on the hatch because I was going to put it in my backyard. The one that I wish that I could have gotten but got away was if you're familiar with the TV show Lost, the submarine. We were trying to bid on the submarine. We wanted the submarine because I have a lake in the back, and I would have put that out there as a floating dock. So that's the one that got away. But honestly, if I could have like a screen used anything from Star Wars, any lightsaber. There's so many things that I would murder over. But I'll.
You want a Mandalorian helmet?
I don't know.
Any Mandalorian helmet.
Yeah. Well, quite frankly, let's just put me back like this. I'll wear like a hat like
there you go.
quite frankly, I am working on my own Mando costume right now. So yeah, this can completely turn into a cosplay thing. So working on 2 cosplays at the same time, but one of them is my own Mando. It's not the Mandalorian. It's not Din Djarin, but it's going to be a Mandalorian. That's Twi'lek. So I'm working on the helmet now.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm also doing
Fancy.
a version of Mother Talzin, which means I bought the contacts, the whiteout contacts that Mark has. So I just got those in. I have to do a test.
It's surprising how well those you can see through those. People always think, "Oh my gosh, you must not see it." No, fine. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I got the ones with my prescription in them. So I'm like, woo, I cannot wait. I'm going to be like Mark.
Yes. Yeah. They're pretty awesome. So I think if I had to one piece of movie memorabilia or television memorabilia, it would have to be something from Buckaroo Banzai. I'd love the jet car. The bus would be nice just so I'd have a bus.
Yeah.
But not, and the jet car never. I think I'd settle for just the oscillation overthruster, the little thing that would become the flux capacitor and the later on and a bunch of other things. But that would be just something simple that would be cool like that. I've got my Battlestar Galactica blaster, which was my other, my Starbuck sidearm. But again, I have a replica. Screen used would be nice, but I know those are locked away in the Universal vaults.
Yeah.
So,
I had a friend that had a lot of prop guns from the movie Ice Pirates, which I thought was pretty
fantastic. One of the best movies of all time.
Yes. And that one was always just a huge treat. Whenever I went over to his house, I saw them.
It has not been the best in some areas, but it is an awesome movie.
Yeah.
So a little cringy in parts, but still good. It was the 80s. It was allowed.
Small, I think when you guys are talking about the bigger stuff, I will now change my answer to the Aston Martin DB5 with all the tricked out stuff that James Bond used in Goldfinger.
There you go.
Let's
go big.
Isn't that? I think that is considered the most valuable movie car of all time. I think it
has to be just the cost of the actual car alone, not to mention all the gadgetry put in.
There is, you can see it in Orlando.
Oh, really?
There is, there's a car museum in Orlando that has like the largest movie car collection. You guys are talking about all your movie cars. I cannot remember. It's a private collection, but it's now opened as a museum. Oh, wow. And he has a whole Bond wing, and he has the Lotus, he has the Aston, he has all, and he's got the OGs, and that is the heaviest guarded room in the entire collection. I was just happy to have Black Beauty from the original Green Hornet. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. So again,
those are good choices.
Get some waxing figures in there. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
I remember seeing a golden ticket from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory at San Diego Comic-Con. I want to say that was Prop Store. It was either Prop Store or Profiles in History. Both of those. If you've never been on their websites, take a look. See, that stuff always comes. And that stuff does go to auction. But
Rabbit Hole. Do you guys remember the Hollywood Studios when it was still MGM Studios? They had the prop shop.
Yes.
Right as you walked in, that had screen use stuff that was not expensive, and it was because it was the days before the internet, so you could afford these things. I bought a Tron Frisbee.
Oh wow!
That was used in Tron for $75, and it was a Frisbee that had just been all the Frisbee stuff filed off, and it was painted glow in the dark.
Oh my god!
And I bought that for $75. I wound up selling it to pay rent one year for almost $3,000. When I was really hurting. I hated selling it, and I know now it's worth like tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Still,
at least it was a decent return on your investment. But
I can't complain. It's you take what you get.
I remember that
get higher than that, but who knew?
Yeah, because I remember the props, the little prop area that was also just like the stuff that wasn't for sale, but then they had the saleable stuff right next to. Oh, what was the tram ride that was all the stunt?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Backstage tour.
Yeah, backstage tour. I remember seeing one of the Christopher Reeves Spider-Man capes. They had that there for a long time.
Yeah, it was Sid Kavanaugh's, I think, or Sid Kawingi. It had a weird name, and it was just this crazy shop. And you go in all the time because it was different every time you went. I worked there at the time, and it was just like, oh, I get my employee discount on this. Awesome. Oh, wow.
I changed my answer. I know what I want now.
Oh.
I want, because I don't think it's for sale, but I want it. I remember I'm going to call Disney Hollywood Studios before they tore everything out for Galaxy's Edge and, the Toy Story Land. they had a lot of the old ride vehicle or a lot of prop stuff. The flight of the Navigator spaceship was back there for the longest time, and I don't know where it is now, and I want that.
It is in Tomorrowland.
Ooh.
It's in Tomorrowland? They moved it?
Yep. You would not recognize it. You take the people mover around Tomorrowland, and on top of the ice cream stand, you'll see this weird looking spaceship.
That's where they put it.
They did it. They painted it and turned it backwards.
Oh,
and that's it though. That's the Flight of the Navigator.
It's an original round shape. It's not in its, when it stretch out and fly. I love the hell
same
out
one
of
that was in the back lot. They just put it there. And actually, if you go around, if you take the people mover, you can see the door still.
Oh, because my favorite part was like when I was doing a lot of marathons. One of the marathons where you would run through at the time MGM, and they would always run past it, and I'd always like hit it, tap it when I like kissed it because I was like just so happy to be next to it.
Yeah.
So do you guys think the Stargate can fit behind me?
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
the Stargate
one action.
I think we could find one.
All right, Dave. There you go for your role-playing history. What game inspired Stargate? Even had a lawsuit against the Stargate producers.
That I don't know.
Even though the movie came out and the two names of the main characters were the two sample characters from the role-playing game, and they still lost the lawsuit.
Which game?
Games, and the game was called Fringeworthy. And it's about military going through a Stargate that they found in Egypt going to alternate dimensions. And if you look at it, look at stuff at Fringeworthy from 1970s, and it is exactly Stargate SG-1.
Huh. Oh, wow.
And the poor guy who made that, Richard Tucholka, died nearly penniless. Oh. So, and he sued several times and never got any credit for it. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Yeah. Way to bring everything down.
You're welcome. Hey, bunny trail. You never know what you're going to hit.
That's good to know.
On a brighter side, the actual Stargate, the current Stargate role-playing game, when you guys go to a convention and see these guys, they have I think it's 40% or 50% sized, still 10 feet tall Stargate.
Nice.
At their booth. That you can go take pictures of, and it's got like a shimmery background and everything. Man. So that you could at least get the shimmery background behind you.
Yeah,
I don't know if you could fit the whole thing.
I'll have to do that. Yeah, I'm in the process of creating my green screen.
You could do it. Find some green.
You
just
can do
find
it.
Green fabric.
You can do
I have. Green
you can
fabric.
find it like on Amazon. You can find the background nowadays.
Yeah,
pretty cheap-ish. Ish. Okay, how many hats is people going to be putting on? I'm going to get my Boba Fett one.
I did not go and grab the ones from the front door.
That's where my Columbia Boba Fett hat is.
I'll have to wait till
I want a Boba Fett fez.
Oh man.
There's a company that does a lot of really goofy, geeky fezzes, like leather nerd gear, and they've got it's a Boba Fett helmet as a fez.
Nice.
So it's a Boba Fez.
Yeah. Boba Fez.
And James is getting knocked out of the stream.
Yeah.
James was on it.
Okay.
Look at that right in the comments.
The James is all thinking alike. And on that note, I think maybe we'll just go to commercial because there's just no way to follow that.
No.
Oh, good.
No.
I think that seems like a reasonable thing to do. So we'll do that because, we always come back to us in here. And I'm not nearly as, good as the Christian. So there's the
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hanging Us Love Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
the massive audio Doctor Who Bad Wolf Bluetooth TARDIS speaker. That's all I gotta say, one word. Wow, it looks like it just jumped right off the screen. Here it is in all its Bad Wolf glory. Right here is the on-off switch and the up and down volume. Right here's the speaker. The TARDIS stands about 6 inches from the bottom of the TARDIS all the way up to the top where the light is. Look at the detail. Wow!
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun, from comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
You know what my favorite part of that commercial is? Baby Christian. Little baby Christian there is playing, doing Ed McMahon, and it's adorable.
Yep.
And we'll have to go through and look at it. Ooh, 5, 6.
I so have hat envy right now. I don't have any of my other hats with me.
Cobra!
And Melanie has helmet out.
Only Cobras decided to destroy the weather.
Oh, good Lord.
No, that's not happening. That's fogging too much.
Yeah.
I'll say that, I couldn't stay underneath Wrecker for too long.
Oh, that was crazy. Yep. This will be better. So, my Ripley's
Tom, you clearly now here's how when you know that Tom did not tune in at the beginning of the show. So we all look at Tom and go, Tom was late. Because we already talked about that. But he's here, so this is great, and we're happy everybody's here watching us because we are completely off the rails, as the episode title would insinuate.
Questions.
Yes, look for some more questions. So here's a question. While Melanie looked for other questions, Book of Boba Fett. I spoiler alert.
One, are you going to talk about spoilers? If so, how recent? Let people know before you begin.
Yeah, that's why I was stopping.
Is the Wednesday.
Finale?
We're on the precipice of a finale.
I have heard a breaking theory that Boba Fett might actually cameo in the last episode of Book of Boba Fett. So we'll see.
Oh.
Yes, I've heard of that meme. I haven't actually seen it, but yes, that was kind of. I loved the last 2 episodes. We'll stay as vague as possible because there are a lot of people here. But the first 3 episodes, I really, really enjoyed. I enjoyed what they were doing there. I know there was some people who were like, but I thought it was a great take on everything. And then the last 2 episodes, which were brilliant episodes, and I understand why everybody went about them, but they didn't fit. I love that they're there, but I really didn't feel like it was like when. Does anyone remember when NCIS had their backdoor pilot on Jag? No. Melanie, have you ever seen Jag?
Nope.
So Jag was a elite law room procedural, right? Mm-hmm. It was a straight-laced military lawyer show, and then they backdoor piloted in NCIS.
Okay.
Which is completely not 180 in theme, but it's a pretty hard twist. It felt like that, other than the fact that we know it wasn't a backdoor pilot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, these things have been going on since forever. I mean, look at Happy Days, Mork and Mindy, and and all the spinoffs from that. I mean, it even goes back to the Andy Griffith Show and all the spinoffs from that. I mean, it's all about building universes now, and it's become we're full circle back to that. So this is
and I do love that. Don't get me wrong.
A long story, and I think if they had done that they hadn't called it what it's called and just said, "Hey, this is just one big story," and keep riding. We'd have been fine.
Name it after the name it like Flux, a season title.
See, I tend to point out the fact that we did not know we were getting Book of Boba Fett.
No.
Nobody knew we were getting Book of Boba Fett until we were watching the very end of Mandalorian, and all of a sudden we're getting this last stinger. We're like, oh, this is cool. And then it's, oh, he's going to return in Book of Boba Fett. And just everyone's kind of like, wait, what? We're getting more? What do you mean we're getting more? And then from at that point, Filoni and Favreau coming out and saying this Book of Boba Fett basically is Mandalorian 2.5.
Yeah.
We're getting an extra little in-between thing, extra bonus stuff. So for all the people that kind of for all the gatekeeping fans that jump in there like, this is right, it's called Book of Boba. They're like, you just gotta complain about something, don't you? You just gotta find something to bitch about.
My only complaint was the low speed chase with the Power Rangers kids. That was my only thing.
I was hoping that would be shot a little faster, and especially when you saw the train with the little train heist. I thought that was shot.
And we've seen how fast speeders can go. Why is this thing going 12 miles an hour in the Bronco?
Because they're Vespas.
Because they're mods of little Vespas.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna go fast.
I was all right. So now the question is, were they more Power Rangers or more Captain Planet? What do you think? What is your opinion on the Boba Fett's Goon Squad?
I felt more Power Rangery.
It was a close call. By their powers combined, they could summon Boba Fett. Maybe, I don't know. It was very.
They looked like they visited a 1950s kitchen appliance store and kind of cobbled together some stuff. So
yes.
That was just my take.
I still really want a Smeg brand toaster. I don't care about the rest of the appliances. Just a Smeg brand toaster, and I'm happy.
There you go. But no, I enjoyed it. It was such an off take from the rest of the show. That was the only thing that really took me out of it.
That's my only complaint about it.
Themselves are called mods, and then they were mod culture back in the 60s and of the UK mod culture. So I liked how the layers of okay, we're gonna have a biker gang, but we're gonna have it like with these. My only thing was like, I'm kind of in this. You can't afford food. You can't afford water. How the hell are you getting the dust off these things? You live on a dust planet of just nothing but just that. That was the only thing that my own little person. I'm like, how do you get that chrome looking so good? I can't take my bike out without it looking like crap real quick. And I'm in Florida. You go outside, it's humid. It's like stuff just kind of sheens off itself.
Yes, Andy Griffith was spin off from the Danny Thomas Show. Yep, they're all spinoffs, man. That's right, Dan. Everything's a spinoff.
Yeah, nobody
likes to use the word but thank you for making me feel less old, Tom. Thank you for making me feel less old.
Nobody likes to use the word spin-off anymore. It's better. It's more evil to say backdoor pilot
or connecting worlds. World building.
Well, no, because the show is a spin-off. But they put the pilot in the middle of of another show. That is definitely not the same thing as a spin-off. Spin-off is what comes later.
Yeah,
so they are definitely two things. Yeah. But
which is definitely awesome. If you haven't watched that, that's great. I think it was something along those lines. Yeah.
Maybe Mando seems like they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's.
I think Melanie's right. It was like 2.5. Let's throw this in to keep everybody happy till we get 3 off the ground.
Well, even Ming-Na Wen went on to record saying that she did not know that she was going into another show. She thought she was going into film for Mandalorian. So everything here has been extremely on the hush hush and being very quiet because bless the producers of this, that they know that their own fan base that they're trying to sell to is got its own little toxic history of being very, very possessive of the brand, which
they Tom Holland proof.
Calm down. Yeah. So there's. So I can see where it's like to read James's question, because remember, guys, this is also a podcast. We have to read these things.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Is there a budget issue or something?
Is there a budget issue
for Mando 3? So they had to fit something into Boba to appease the Mando fans.
I just wondered if they weren't trying to move some stuff along so they can start Mandalorian season 3 and say, okay, we already know what happened with Grogu. Here's where the story picks up now. Why he has a new ship. They don't have to get into any of that. and just hit the ground running for season 3. I figured.
Yep.
That seems
really
reasonable.
Do feel
Yeah.
that I really do feel that a lot of this has been built in the storytelling of Filoni, looking at Clone Wars. Because if you think of Clone Wars, if you think of other kind of long episodic kind of television stuff, there's different arcs within there. That it's during the Umbara arc for Clone Wars, you didn't see any of the Jedis really, except one, except Ponkrell, which was yeah. But really, that was a clone-based episode. That the whole thing was clones for the entire arc. So you could say, well, it's Clone Wars, but then there's other Clone Wars episodes where you did not have any clones showing up once ever. Heck, I know there's episodes where I'm like, oh God, here's Padme. We're gonna have a Senate episode. Oh, I lied. It's a whole arc on the Senate. This'll be fun. You didn't see a damn clone in it in the Clone Wars. So you're gonna have these little kind of mini arcs, but they do push the overreaching story. And I think you're going to have that style of storytelling in what we're seeing. So yes, the Mandalorian, most of it was Din Djarin, but we had episodes that were just Boba Fett heavy. Heck, the one with Bill Burr, and I just forgot the character's name because my brain just went. That was more about him than anything. Yes, you do have a little bit of Din take his mask off the first time, all that kind of stuff. But really, that was a Bill Burr heavy episode, So
here's a question for you guys: do you guys like the fact that we're seeing a lot more behind the scenes look at the Mandos, as opposed to having all these Jedi oriented story arcs?
Yes, 100%. Give me me the down and dirty. I'm tired of the guys in the clean robes with the sword.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I also think it's fascinating that they're also showing off the fact that this is Death Watch. This isn't just everybody. Leighton fans were just okay. Boba Fett has wearing Mandalorian armor. Okay, Boba Fett was that, and then he's wearing his father's Mandalorian armor. And then you keep going back in the comics. You can go through the Bounty Hunter series. You can go through all this stuff to get into the background, and then realize
holiday special.
Yeah, yeah. But you can go into it and realize that all the different Mandalorians had different clans. A lot of them believe. I mean, heck, just go into the lore of the Darksaber and how people are slowly learning about that. People who've never watched the Clone Wars are now going, well, who's Bo-Katan? Oh, what do you mean that? Did you win it in Creed? Well, what does that mean? And now as they're going back, they can look at the armor and go, why does she have spikes on her helmet?
Yep.
Well, that was because somebody else held that Darksaber for a while.
Are you guys reading the current? I'm sorry.
No, go for it, because the answer is yes.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, are any of you reading the current Star Wars comics from Marvel, Bounty Hunters, Dr. Aphra, any of the current stuff?
Yeah. I just got I got the last two books of, I think it's 3 and 4 of Aphra.
Okay.
So,
nice.
But
I don't know.
it's especially the main Star Wars thing has been a lot of fun because it's just filling in that whole gap between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Because we had the War of the Bounty Hunters, which Shadows of the Empire kind of did, but this is like more detail. And they're bringing in stuff from Solo. They brought in Kira from Solo. So if you're not reading it right now, I can't recommend highly enough the Marvel Star Wars books that are out there.
And the cool thing now with Book of Boba Fett is that they're starting to pull the stuff where they deemed legends, where anything that became, they said, this is no longer canon. Somehow they're trying to pull some of that back in to say, look, this stuff was amazing. We don't want to just say wipe the slate and off it goes, but maybe we could pull a little bit of it right now. Like right now, I'm playing personally. I'm playing. Thrawn.
But to answer Dan's question there, I would definitely appreciate if I could have like a physical copy of these shows, because I don't want to jinx it, but how long are streaming services going to be around before they go on to the next big thing?
I mean,
I don't think, has Disney Plus released any of their original content on Blu-ray yet at all? Because I don't think they've done with the Marvel series.
None of them yet.
Obviously, Rebels was pre-existing, but I haven't seen, other than Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars, any of the other stuff.
They're still building their streaming audience. They feel like if they do that, it will drop. They got to have the streamers. They got to build the recurring money before they can do the one shots. I guarantee you at some point when they realize the return on investment is going to be, let's do a special edition with, the 4 Avengers series or the 3 Star Wars series or something like that. They'll do a box set.
Especially
When that
if they
comes
add
up,
bonus
when the
content, like the actors talking about stuff and featurettes and things like that. If they add all that stuff, people like me will go out and buy those anyway.
Yeah.
Well, they've got those on the streaming service too. All those behind the scenes of the making of the Mandalorians and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so they're already there. What the Avengers one's called? What, Declassified? I think.
Yeah, I think so. But that's even. I think that's even shorter than it could
Shorter.
be. They could really get into some stuff.
I'd like to see some commentary tracks. Yeah, that's my thing. So,
I think it would be, as far as, and I agree with Willow, as far as streaming services disappear, the only upside, or one of the few upsides, I guess, of all of these big studios coming out with their own streaming services, like, Disney Plus, is that Disney's going nowhere. Even if Disney Plus disappears, Disney will still own the universe and can then just put out the DVDs. It's not like you're in the middle of watching, Buffy on Netflix and it goes poof.
Yep.
I think it's another turn of Disney utilizing the vault, because they're the ones that really showed off that supply and demand kind of fun of going, you know what, we're just not going to release this anymore. It's going into the vault. And then when we unvault the Aladdin, Little Mermaid, blah, 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 it can come out again. So I think this is their own way of going streaming. We're just going to go ahead and keep everything to ourselves. And then maybe if they need a Christmas push or something like that, or keep by making all this content that's not on DVD, that's not on Blu-ray or what have you, it's getting more and more value to the streaming services to say, okay, well, if you want to come in and you're ready to binge, then they're going to be able to bring the bingers in, because right now Disney's shown off what streaming can do with appointment viewing again. Because look, it's almost Wednesday. Is it 2 a.m. yet? Is it 2 a.m. yet? Is it 2 a.m. yet?
Look at what happened with Buffy though, with streaming, because the originals were not made for widescreen. They were not high def. And so when they upscaled them, they made them widescreen, but you had shots with the crew on the side because they were shot, 4:6, not 16:9. And then they also didn't color correct them, because when they originally uploaded, filmed them, they color corrected them. And so some of them would come out and, shots that were supposed to be at night, and they had been, the original release was dark. Suddenly it's broad daylight and there's Angel, the vampire, standing in the bright sun, and nobody notices. And it's supposed to be this scary.
I miss all of that.
Completely gone when you're watching it on Hulu, because they totally did that. So hopefully with Disney money, they can go back and do a proper release like they did Star Trek. Paramount did a few years ago and all that. So
Mark's comment, and Mark, I think you're lucky to have just met Jeremy Bullock, no matter what you had him sign.
Yes.
I would have loved to have met him, so I would consider yourself lucky no matter what you had him sign, just that you got the fact to meet him.
And the Edward of Wickham, totally, definitely a good thing, because I mean, he was only in Boba Fett for a few minutes in the costume. So honestly, Jeremy would have been proud that you asked him for that Edward of Wickham, because that was actually him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but he was such a blast to talk to at Comic-Con, and
always.
He would always show off his tricks and everything. That he's like, look what I can do with this coin, and it's like, he'd always have a big group around him.
Mm-hmm. Well, eons before Disney even entertained the thought of buying, or not even that, before George Lucas even entertained the thought of selling LucasArts, he was always at Star Wars weekends at Disney. And that was one of those things where you had to get there pre-rope drop to try to run to get to the area that they were going to give out the not like the fast passes for the autographs, and I never got there in time ever. But I have tons and tons of photos of Mr. Bullock. I have pictures of Filoni. I have pictures of everybody. But yeah, never
I remember
those autographs.
When they did the Behind the Mask tour. This was back in the early days of cons, and it was him and Peter Mayhew and David Prowse and all the guys, and they had no lines because nobody knew who the hell they were, and it was so sad back then. And of course, they redeemed just 10 years late when cons became huge and everything became huge and nerddom hit mainstream. But back in those days, I remember those sad cons when I was like, oh my God, it's Chewbacca, it's Darth Vader, and the people I'm with are like, no, Darth Vader's James Earl Jones. That's not. I'm like, no, this is the guy in the suit.
Get out of here.
And they're like, who cares? Like, you're not my friend anymore. Goodbye. Yeah.
So before we go into our after party, I'm going to run a couple more commercials, but because we are at that point where we have to kind of end the audio version of the show. Before I do that, though, Willow, why don't you give us a quick where do we find you?
Okay, so you can find me with the Hanging with Web group. I'm their program director. I make all the cool little posters that tell you what shows are on each day. I also throw in some other tidbits as well with other podcasters. I'm also with the Back of the Cereal Box crew. I do Cryptid Crunch every other Sunday. So yeah, we talk about monsters, cryptids, aliens, and I definitely want to have people on my show to talk about that stuff.
And you definitely have promoted. Yeah, and you've definitely promoted both Legend of Traveling TARDIS in my own interviews too. So thank you very much, Willow, for those.
You are welcome.
James, where can we find you?
So you can find me at Geek to Me Radio on Twitter and Instagram. If you go to geektomeradio.com, that's kind of the landing page for everything. We do a live radio show. The broadcast on KTRS 550 AM in the St. Louis area, but you can stream us online as well. My executive producer, Joey V, always hooks us up with videos, so you can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. But we're trying to get the YouTube subscriptions to bump over to 1K by the end of the year. So I've given myself plenty of time, but if you're watching this right now, I'd very much appreciate you going to YouTube, find Geek to Me Radio, and subscribe. We're actually going to give away a Catwoman Hunted on Blu-ray on the show live this coming Sunday for all of my YouTube subscribers, so make sure you check that out.
You have my attention.
Excellent. And Mark, where can we find you?
Let's see. I'm at Erie, Florida on all the socials, or at erieflorida.com. And you can also find me coming soon on Erie Travels, which will be a new show from WeBeam TV, and that should be starting in March, I believe. We've already filmed the first few episodes, and looks like a lot of fun. So,
excellent. And we already know where to find Melanie. We don't need to talk to. No, where do we have you anywhere? What do you got going on? Anything,
well,
Melanie?
it just so happens to be in an hour, a little less than an hour, I will be on another podcast, which I'm sorry I didn't have a better link that I'm just kind of showing up on the board now, which is a Facebook Live. And that's going to be Earth Station Who. I also put it in all of the messages, if you look in the chats, you can see it there too. But on Earth Station Who, we are going to be talking about romance in the TARDIS, for good, the bad, the ugly, and that's going to be in an hour. So if you want to see this ugly mug, talk about more stuff, more Doctor Who-y kind of stuff, I'll be over there at 7:45, I believe, is when we're going to get ready for it, and then at like 8 o'clock we go live. So that's where I'm going to be next. Like literally next.
Yes, when you finish watching us, you can go get ready, have a bite, and go do that. As for me, we don't need that banner. Where's mine? Where's my banner? I don't know what door's up there.
That's where you're going.
We'll do that.
Oh, that guy.
I review board games. The RatHole.ca/who is all my Doctor Who board games, but since we're not talking about that, Linktree linktr.ee/the RatHole.ca has all of my social medias. Has my YouTube on there, with which I just subscribed to Geek to Me Radio.
Oh, thank you.
So
nice.
you got that there. But I'm a handful of people away from that magical number of 100, so I can get a real YouTube URL.
Oh,
yeah, it's like so close. Why? We never used to use it. It was a storage medium for us, so we've only just started kind of pushing that in fairly recent times. And Christian didn't meet any. What did you miss, Christian? Well, we'll come back after these messages to our after party, and we'll tell Christian what he missed, including some great questions from the audience that we can continue with.
Push the wrong
You have more options than ever.
Author Cindy Koepp is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Koepp at CKOEPP.com today.
Now on Amazon.com, iCoin from author Jeremy Mosby. It's an alternate reality, and the leader of the planet iCoin is none other than Benjamin Franklin. When corrupt officials threaten not only iCoin but the Earth as well, an unlikely chosen one, Jeremy, must face dark foes to save the Earth and iCoin alike. Author Jeremy Mosby takes readers on a superhero's adventure through this compelling and imaginative alternate universe. Get iCoin on Amazon.com today.
Experience Samara's adventure as she imagines the people around her change into friendly cartoon animals right before her eyes. Journey with her in this poetic tale, My Cartoon Imagination at School.
And that was shorter than I wanted it to be. And then things started dinging at me right as I did that. So there we go. And then Melanie was eating, and I was hoping to get, so I had her solo just in case we get her like stuffing her face with the chocolate that Mark sent her.
Chocolate.
So yay! So now I have to go
it.
over here and continue to be off the rails. Nope, that's not the one I need. Nope, that's not the one I need.
As everyone's just staring at me because I'm just okay.
There we go. There we go. And now we're into the after party officially. There we go. Well, three of us are. Wait, the commercials are so bad that
he turned
Mark
into
just kind of, he just kind of shriveled up into a
what?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Wait,
poorly. You chose poorly.
Is that one of the shrunken heads he was talking about earlier?
No, this is Clem.
Yeah, that's Clem.
Clem's in my seat. Clem, get out of there.
Clem, move! Damn it, Clem. Stealing the spotlight.
Always stealing the spotlight. We took him to the Fountain of Youth, and now he's you just can't keep him alone. He just won't sit still. So
Tom says, I missed out on the Black Series Deluxe Boba Fett. Oh, I'm so sorry. The Type 1 Jedi Ruins at Walmart. #poop. Dude,
those things are
It
crazy.
is hard to find some decent Black Series figures at the store when they're being released.
Even the G.I. Joe classified series, those things are gone in seconds at Target. Yeah.
My toy shelves have looked like the barren dunes of Tatooine since Christmas of last year. So the supply chain things are not helping now, but I'm lucky if I see a He-Man figure or a G.I. Joe figure on the shelves anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
I saw a photo of, because I'm like all in with Star Wars right now, that the Bad Batch's release of Echo and Omega are kind of out. Because somebody found them somewhere in the Midwest. I want to say somewhere like in Nebraska kind of ish area. But yeah, that they found them in the Target. So I have a feeling it was probably they're stateside. They're going to the distribution of their warehouses. They're starting to go to the big box stores. And that might have been a case of somebody got one and then put it out a little too soon. So they're out there. That was probably like one of those outliers to it. But, happy hunting, because it's a lot of that tends to be secondary market, unfortunately.
Yep.
I have another question here from Yes It Is. What was the last TV show you binged outside of Doctor Who?
Oh.
James, why don't we start with you?
Succession on HBO Max.
Yes.
It's like Game of Thrones meets corporate America. It makes me feel like there can't be people this awful out in the world, can there? And that makes me kind of wonder sometimes. But yeah, it's only, I think, 3 seasons, I guess. And we blew through all 3 seasons in like a month. So it was, we've just started Righteous Gemstones with John Goodman, and that's the one we're starting now.
That's fun stuff.
Nice.
My wife calls those my train wreck shows because they're like watching train wrecks. You just can't look away.
Yeah,
seriously. It's like, how worse can it get? Oh, Brian Cox and Kean Culkin will figure out a way. My last binge outside of Doctor Who was I went old school and rewatched all OG Battlestar Galactica.
Ooh.
Sadly, I also watched Battlestar Galactica 1980, but which was terrible. But the last episode was good. But that was I was on a nostalgia kick, and one of the people at work was talking new Battlestar, and I was trying to talk old Battlestar at the time, and they didn't know what I was talking about. So I was like, all right, we're watching it. And they came over and we did a binge. And, they both have their strengths. So it was good.
What about you,
Sons
Willa?
of Anarchy. I tried watching Sons of Anarchy. I got to maybe the 3rd or 4th season, and I just had to jump off it because I couldn't get through it. The storylines in some cases were just like, I'm mad at this person for killing my friend, and then they just make a whole more of a mess than they need to. And a lot of it could have been taken care of in the first season.
Melanie, what about you?
So I started going back to do another Clone Wars kind of binge, because there's been a lot of callbacks to that. But then I kind of stopped there because I started playing Jedi Fallen Order, and I just got, because that's one of those that everyone told me about it, and then I finally have stopped watching television enough so I could just go ahead and go through that. To it, my husband is, and he'll admit this, he's not good at gaming. My husband is one of those, he hands me the remote, he loves watching it for the story, but he'll let me game. That's how we roll. So then he ran out, and because he loves it, he ran out and he got me a Cal Kestis.
Oh, nice.
So he got me a Cal Kestis, where if you watch The Mandalorian, see the BD droid people.
Yep.
That's the callback to Cal. So yeah, this is, and I just got to, funny enough, I just got off of Ilum. So, and it's a lot of Clone Wars.
Yep.
Harkening back to it again. So I'm just all in right there. Otherwise, if I am binging, it's probably stuff, funny enough, on YouTube than anything. There is an amazing one that's called Graveyard Tours, and I want to say it's called Hollywood Graveyard. But they'll do other stuff. But I have been binging like crazy that, and I mean, Hollywood Graveyard basically is different. Just walking tour where the camera will kind of pan around to which cemetery they're at. Then they'll go. They tend to do the same thing cinematographically. I still can't say it. But they'll then pan down. You'll see either the cenotaph or the grave marker or the mausoleum. Tell you where it is, who it was, and then background behind them. And it's actually really, 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 really interesting. So yeah, that's what I've kind of been binging. It's more YouTube than anything. There was another show I was starting to binge on YouTube, but I can't remember what it is right now.
For me, my binging always gets kind of sidetracked by other binging. So like I've been slowly binging the 6th Doctor, which is I know Doctor Who, not the point of the question, but I've been working on my 6th Doctor source book review, so that's been on there.
Research and
I was working through The Gifted.
Yeah, great series.
That was back when before Disney took over Fox. Fox was going to do an X-Men TV series. X-Men scrapped the X-Men series, or Fox scrapped the X-Men series and came up with The Gifted instead. It's kind of a universe where the X-Men have disappeared.
Yes.
You know, some new characters, some originals, some tweaks. It's a good series. It lasted 3 seasons, I believe, and I'm in the middle of season 3. And it's a definitely an interesting take on mutants.
Okay.
I've been doing Selena plus Chef.
Oh, nice.
And if you've never watched it, they're half-hour episodes. It's Selena Gomez in her kitchen with, like, on camera, very explicitly, no one else there. It's all remote camera. It was a pandemic show. And then some major chef, a different one every episode, set up remotely in their kitchen at home.
Oh,
often with their wives and their kids popping in, or their pandemic buddies that have been quarantining with them, and they teach Selena Gomez how to cook something because Selena Gomez loves cooking but can't cook worth squat. And almost every chef have to say, watch your fingers with that knife.
Yeah.
Oh
almost
my god!
Every episode, her knife skills are cringeworthy.
Giving them anxiety.
So that famous graves, I found one just a week ago that I did not know was in Florida. I was in South Florida filming a ghost hunt at the Riddle House down in Boca Raton area at this old, yesteryear village. But while we were there, we went down to Fort Lauderdale because we were looking at the next location we were going to be filming in, called the New River Inn. But we went to this graveyard, and they were showing me the graveyard and giving me the tour. And they said, and over here's where Leslie Nielsen's buried.
Oh, like, really?
I didn't know he was here. And went over, and he has this great gravestone. His epitaph is "Let Her Rip." But then he's got a chair, a morning chair there, and it's a quote from him saying, "Well, if you're tired, have a seat, Leslie Nielsen." So I was like, cool. "Oh!" And there were lots of little offerings on his tombstone, and there were little airplanes.
Oh my god!
Oh, really?
So, yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, because that was one thing.
I didn't even know it was there. So.
No, I could have sworn I could have sworn they brought his body, like his ashes, at least back to Canada. But
no.
Yeah, I went to his school. I Leslie Nielsen and went to Victoria Comp in Edmonton way back, years before I was ever there, and I actually went there as well. It was a great art school, and he actually came back and visited the school and kind of toured the TV studios because it's an art school, so they have TV studios and everything. Obviously, this was many years ago, but
what was the last comment? Was somebody asked, "What's our favorite movie trilogy?"
I'll go to the question because I just want to hit the comment real quick.
Oh yeah,
with us. Dan says I've been binge watching a primitive camping series on YouTube called Corporal's Corner.
Yeah.
A guy goes out into the woods with a backpack and a few tools and builds an overnight campsite and cooks out. Which honestly, those I'm always kind of fascinated with all those kind of. I tenuously say survivalist kind of stuff because some of them can go really crazy out there, but I always find them very fascinating.
There's a guy that my husband follows on, I think YouTube. It's called Van Life, and it's a guy that lives in his truck and drives around. He's a Canadian, and I think he lives in Alberta.
Well, as much as you live when you live in a van.
Yeah.
And the pandemic really messed with his show, let me tell you, because the last year and a half, I think he was supposed to be driving around the southern U.S. for his show. And no.
He isn't going to be let in.
Yep.
So, Andrew Morris.
Hold on. Before we ask this, Willow, we get to laugh at Christian?
Oh, Christian, let me guess. You have to wear...
It's cold.
You have to wear socks with your sandals?
Yeah. Oh, for those of you who don't know, Willow is from Winterpeg.
Oh, wow.
So we laugh.
We're seeing plus.
We're not dodging falling iguanas
right
anymore,
now.
but it's still in the 50s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 50s.
It's upside down. You can't sign, but it says 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is
that wacky
but it's
Canadian
rainy
temperature, or is
disgusting.
that the proper temperature?
2 pairs of
like
socks.
92,
Oh.
right?
I can't see.
2 degrees. Okay.
2 degrees.
2 degrees Celsius. That's like 96, right?
Dude, the language on it down.
Yeah, it's about 32 degrees here for you guys.
Okay, so.
Still cool. Anyways, so yes, now that we've made fun of that, we can go on to your Andrew's comment.
Hold on. Mark just shoved his says, Mel, what's the temperature in real money?
Yeah.
Why? You take your dollar coins.
I'll have you know I like my plastic money. Thank you very much.
Your money smells like maple syrup. His money, Mark's money's all
I can't
coins.
sell you those FASA games because you'll give me that weird Canadian money that I won't be able to do anything with.
Our money has women on it.
Oh, well, that might
not
be
just old white dudes.
We have a Sacagawea coin, thank you, and a Susan B. Anthony that had to stop because it basically was a quarter.
Now, so I'm excited. So use them for your Strahd campaign and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Favorite movie trilogy.
Eventually, we're getting to Andrew's question. Hi, Andrew. Sorry again. So, what's your favorite movie trilogy? So he's even actually being specific on trilogy and not series or
yeah,
genre. Sadly,
Can you call any of the Spider-Mans a trilogy anymore? Now that all of the Spider-Mans are all kind of No Way Home together, is it still a trilogy?
Yeah.
That is not a surprise. That's not even a spoiler at this point.
I have not. I'm not.
We won't no more details on that. But if that much information is a spoiler to you, you've really stayed off the internet for the last several months. No, I'm just saying we're not. There's no spoilers. No spoilers.
That's the problem. Deathstalker went on to 6 movies, but I really only like that too. But wow.
Trilogy, not series. So
Tremors is my go-to, but that's like
there's some really good.
See, I would go Indiana Jones, but that's 4 movies.
Yeah,
plus
5
some.
now.
So
the 4th one doesn't count.
That's the 4th one that doesn't count. I mean, there was parts of it that I loved. I will say one of my favorite lines ever in any movie is in the 4th movie, Indiana Jones. And that's when Jim Broadbent basically tells him we're at the point of life where the life stops giving us things and starts taking them away. I thought that was the most poignant thing I've ever heard. The way Jim Broadbent said it, I mean, it was just like, and it came out of that damn movie.
I liked when his mom is like correcting his fencing stance on the Jeep, which I thought that I as a fencing kid, that was like that hit me where I lived. So I could be in a life or death situation. Your stance is off. Oh, I'm sorry.
Trilogy only 3.
Can't say like the Muppet movies anymore because they've got 5 now.
Yeah.
And that's the bad thing. Some of my most favorite movies aren't part of trilogies.
Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness.
And and to me, Army of Darkness was the strongest one.
Yeah, it definitely was. But
hey guys, I gotta take off just for a moment. My husband's trying to call, and so my favorite trilogy, I'd have to go with the Ghostbusters for right now because I don't know. It's like I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan, so. But I'll just get myself out of here, and you guys have fun chatting.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
Have a good night.
Does she mean Ghostbusters 1 and 2 and the brand new one, or
I know, or we're talking about the third one.
That's 4
because that's actually 4. We're on 4 again.
Yeah. How about this one? Firefly and Serenity, because Serenity's got that much emotion that counts as 2 movies.
I'll try to figure out where you were going to go with this.
Right
Firefly's not a movie.
Right here.
The Firefly is not a movie unless you watch it all at once, which it could be.
Yeah, if we're going by
add to a binge. I don't know.
I don't know. See, that's a bad.
I like the unofficial trilogy that is
Rules of 3.
Oh, go ahead.
Ooh.
I like the unofficial trilogy that is was it Big Trouble in Little China, Buckaroo Banzai, and They Live, because they were all 3 same writer, same director. No, 3 different directors, but same. They were supposed to be in the same universe. So
we've got a couple Back to the Futures in here.
Yeah,
that is 3.
Definitely. Strong. I know Lord of the Rings is going to be up there because a lot of people are going to say that it was good.
Star Wars, you could go with the original trilogy. I personally love the prequels. That was my that's my Star Wars.
I still say that he was Sith Lord, not just annoying.
I mean, you could go Lord of the Rings, but the second movie was just them walking to the third.
Yeah. Helm's Deep's pretty damn badass. So
yeah.
Original
Star Wars, Back to the Future, the Guardians of the Galaxy films, if the second was completed, and if I made one of the 3 I started. Oh, Tom. Marx's Karate Kid.
Oh, Karate Kid.
Oh, yeah.
3, isn't it?
Solid.
I mean, there's 5 of those technically, but
my sister, I can hear her in the background somewhere screaming about the Matrix. I'm just ignoring her.
So if you say the Daniel LaRusso trilogy for the Karate Kid.
Yes, there we go. That's
there we go. That's the good way to do it. Yep.
Skip Hilary Swank and the Karate Kid. That was not karate.
Yeah, it's not in the reading box set. Good point, Will.
Yeah. Yep. Toy Story.
Yeah.
Well, there's 4 of those now too, though.
There's 4.
Yep. 4 now.
See, I never saw the 4th one because I finally was like, I'm done with Pixar. I'm done with you trying to come in here and rip my heart out and cry during a film. I don't want that. I never saw the fourth one. After that, after seeing the third one and their way of ripping my heart out, making me cry and being a blubbering mess, it's sad to say that the third Toy Story movie, as great as it was, it made me stop watching Pixar movies because I want to be entertained. I don't mind drama, but you don't. I have enough these reasons to cry in my life. I don't need to be weeping for toys.
Okay, so movie in a series, any series that just stands out on its own. That's not the first one in the series, but you still love. What do you think?
Empire Strikes Back.
Well, yeah, that's a go-to. Like on that level,
Any series, not just a trilogy. Any series.
Yeah, any series, like like a 10-movie arc or whatever that you just really like. This one movie stands out and is.
Oh, I got a list of those.
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick's Godzilla.
There you go.
One is going to be National Treasure, the first one.
Okay. I'll say not first one. Not first one.
Oh, not first one. Okay.
Not first one.
Okay. Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Okay. Good.
That's
good
my
call.
favorite Die Hard movie. And, see, I just forgot the other one. Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
That's I would go like
one.
Army of Darkness.
And Army of Darkness is my favorite one.
I would say Tremors 2 is actually so much better than the first one.
It is.
It's amazing. It's like the perfect sequel. And like Gremlins 2 is like
Oh,
the perfect sequel where they just throw everything out the door and just made this crazy, insane off the wall sequel. And there's this other one, like I was mentioning earlier, Deathstalker 2. It was the first Deathstalker was this terrible 80s sword and sorcery. Roger Corman had the rights to do wanted Conan. He couldn't get the rights to it, so he's like, I should get Conan. So he makes this terrible movie. But then they were like, it did well enough. Let's make a sequel. And the sequel, they looked at the script and were like, this is terrible. And they rewrote it on the fly and made this crazy episode. And if you've never seen it, just watch it and you will laugh hysterically. It's some of the goofiest movie ever. So that's my go-to for fun.
I want this to happen. Peter's comment, I want that to happen.
Oh, what's this?
Right,
people will acknowledge.
Actually talked to Hilary Swank about having her in the Cobra Kai series because she is a student of Mr. Miyagi. So they've actually, from what I've heard, they've talked to Hilary Swank about making an appearance.
Okay.
Love it.
Good to
I
know.
suppose you can
The
count
end of
Star
the
Trek
Lens
into
Player trilogy. That's well done, Dan.
James comes in here with just Terminator 2.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yes.
And now I'm going to follow that with Aliens.
Yes.
Even though Alien is absolutely incredible, and I just think that they're so different.
Yeah.
It's like horror genre, action, the
Action
starting
horror.
the modern action movie genre, of that style with CG.
I'd also have to say Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. For me, that movie is just, in my opinion, above the other ones that came out previously. They kind of, when they really upped the stakes on everything. So
Good stuff.
Here's a bunch of them coming in. We've got Wrath of Khan.
Army of Darkness, Voyage Home, First Contact. Yeah, that's good stuff. Nothing wrong with that, Tom.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Absolutely. That came back from the that helped and saved that franchise because after Dark World, I was like, I'm not ever gonna want to watch anything with Thor. I was nonplussed with him in the first movie. The second one was absolute crap, even though I'm like, Eccleston's in this, and poor man couldn't act it, couldn't have
You
so
didn't
much
mean
makeup.
Didn't mean that.
My poor boy. But yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Wow, that's
Off the chart. Taika Waititi for the win.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes to Aliens and Terminator 2.
Yep.
Christian apparently is bored now and is saying Star Trek 4. Voyage
Home. Yeah, Save the Whales.
Save the Whales. That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
That one was fun. I actually liked 6 because they had all the Shakespeare references and Christopher Plummer just being totally evil bad guy. It was nice to have a real evil bad guy since Khan. Yeah, we never really had that. It took all the way back to Khan to get a bad guy. So it was good.
Here we go. Batman Returns.
Oh, yes. That's my
I don't know, it was
one of my
better,
favorite
but it was
films.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. The Crow is my favorite film of all time. All of the other sequels were so bad. Yes.
Yep. It's like Highlander.
The TV series was good. Mark Dacascos' Mark Dacascos' TV series of it, I didn't mind.
Really?
That was a decent. Yeah.
See, I never saw it. I remember it coming out, and I was like,
I didn't binge. I didn't watch it, but I enjoyed it.
I do find it funny how a lot of our trilogies or multiple movies it ends up being like the third one doesn't exist in the franchise.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Nope, never heard of it.
X-Men.
Yeah.
Does not
X1 and 2.
Unshun. That movie can go to hell. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It does not
you just have to
exist.
stop at the first
Shun.
one.
Too bad they only made 2 movies.
Yeah, there was only one.
There was only 2 X-Men movies, and they still have never done Dark Phoenix Unshun. They've still not done any of the Dark Phoenix saga. Shun.
Good call, Dan. RoboCop trilogy. I will say the third one's a little shaky, but it's still pretty solid.
RoboCop is still a good, like, I like the TV show. Oddly enough, I absolutely love the TV show, but then again, I was a child when that show was happening, so
I feel like we need. Apparently. I feel like we need to do this again.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. Yeah. What was that, Dave?
I feel like we need to do this whole thing again. Like this whole off the rails thing again, starting with this question, because we're at a point where we should probably call it to a close. Melanie's got to go do another live show in 20 minutes.
I got a few minutes.
All right. When Melanie needs to leave, we'll cut it. Yeah. Okay. Go. Okay. We'll answer this question, and then we'll head off, and everyone can head over to see Earth Station 2.
Okay. But that's like still gonna be.
Melanie, what's your answer?
Guilty pleasure movie. What's your guilty pleasure geek movie? Ooh. No, I need time to think of that one. Ooh.
You're the one who had to answer it.
I'm thinking if it's a guilty pleasure, that means it's probably bad. Yeah, it's like a bad guilty, because it's got to be guilty. So that's the bad thing. Really,
okay,
I got to go Hawk the Slayer.
There's a couple of guilty pleasure movies, but as far as fandom goes, Beetlejuice is one of them. I've watched that multiple times, even as a kid. I still do. Every time it's on TV, I have to watch it. But if you're looking for something just guilty pleasure-ish, not really fandom, pretty much any Meg Ryan movie.
Oh, I just saw I took the center screen there, so I guess I will have to say, again, not sure if it's geek related, but there are vampires in it, so I'm gonna go with From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes,
I will also say the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. If you watch the director's cut, that is a fine movie.
Thank you.
And we get what's his name? Michael Clark Duncan is an incredible Kingpin.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
So those would be my 2 movies.
Good call. Yeah, I'll
there's like a 3 dozen here.
Yeah, I'll stick with Hawk the Slayer. It's just one of those. It was pre Lord of the Rings without a budget, and they shot for the moon and came up okay. It's still a lot of fun to watch, goofy fun, and I'd say my other 2, Tremors 2 and Deathstalker 2. Those would be my 3. Just those are the ones I love introducing people to that they don't know. And I'm like, these are ones you should watch. Maybe Six String Samurai would be up there too. Another oddball. If you haven't watched that, that's a classic.
I'll definitely look that one. Okay, Melanie.
Mine is I had to think about it, and I'm like, ooh, nope, I know which one it is now. It is called Them. 1954 giant man-eating ants that became huge because of atomic bombs. That's my movie. I love it. I remember watching that movie like crazy when I was little, thinking it was the greatest thing in the world. Hearing that sound of the ants coming, which is like a fan with the belts off, going. That's my movie, and that ushered me into loving Mystery Science Theater and all that kind of stuff. But I can watch them without Joel or Mike and the bots. I can just go and watch them.
Good stuff.
I think I have 3. One I mentioned already is the Matthew Broderick Terrible Godzilla, which is a great popcorn movie. It is a terrible Godzilla movie, but a great popcorn movie.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, they actually canonized that Godzilla as just Zilla and killed him in about 3 seconds in one of the other movies.
Godzilla Final Word.
Yeah, it was just like gone. Number 2, the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. It was again a terrible Planet of the Apes movie, but terrible Planet of the Apes movie, but it was a fun little movie.
Okay,
And I really appreciated the
you
end.
guys have a
All right.
Bye, Willow.
Bye.
Bye, Willow. And I'll end quickly with Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my god, I loved that movie when I was young. That was the greatest, and it's so terrible.
I love it.
And we can't forget Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. I need to watch that. It's on Disney Plus. I gotta pull that one up. All right. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is time we need to bring this to a close. I really think we need, if you want to see us do this again, if you want to see the Traveling TARDIS go completely off the rails again, either on a regular time slot or just because we feel like it, make those, comment in here. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to all of our guests and panelists' YouTube channels. And
Joe's apartment.
And then go watch Joe's apartment.
And I have an ungodly fear of cockroaches, and I loved that movie. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I homework is to look up Six String Samurai. You'll love it.
Okay.
I feel like I need to do that. Yes, I definitely agree.
And Elvis, the King of Vegas, is dying, and so he sends out the call for all the musicians across the world to come to Vegas and become the new king. And they all have swords and they sword fight. It's amazing.
That just reminded me, Bubba Hotep.
Oh, Bubba Hotep!
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
We'll do that one.
Yeah. We're gonna keep going. We can do this for another 2 hours.
Oh yeah, we're
everybody
tune to for the next 2 hours. Yep. All right.
Yes.
Hi, gang.
Everyone, jump over to the Earth Station 2 Facebook group,
that link.
So you can find
me.
So watch Melanie keep yapping, possibly more topic.
We're gonna be talking
look.
Dr. Rose, Dr. Martha, romance, and all the other crap and happiness in Doctor Who. So yeah.
Excellent. In the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of the Traveling TARDIS.